Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In today's episode, we will be reading from Adilila 9.44 onwards. The subject is Lord Chaitanya, the Transcendental Gardener. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सुजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणासिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Screen is small. So today we don't have I am not using the iPad because I'm just trying whether this will be good, because the computer always gets slows down, so that's why at this time I'm trying this way to see if it works well or not. So if the screen is small, what I can do is maybe make this bigger. Today I'm actually using my laptop screen. If you want it a little bigger, let me see if I can do that. I can try doing that if that helps. It's so close to me though, the screen. Yeah, we'll do like this then. But this is all I can do today. I can't. I'm trying not to do the iPad and see if it works any better. Right? So, Adilila 9.44. माली मनुष्य आमार नाहि राज्य धन फल फूल दिया करे पुण्य उपार्जन। So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I am merely a gardener. I have neither a kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. Just to connect to the previous verse, he's saying that we have to be charitable. You see, this computer is still making. Let's see. Okay, it seems to work all right so far. Okay, so previous verse was this. प्राणिनाम् उपकाराय यदेवेह परत्र च कर्मणा मनसा वाचा तदेव मतिमान् भजेत्. Actually, where is this from? Vishnu Puran. Vishnu Puran 3:12-45. And the previous verse was, I think, 10:20-35, which is, yeah. एतावज्जन्म साफल्यं देहिनामिह देहिषु प्राणेरर्थैर्धिया वाचा श्रेय आचरणं सदा. It is the duty of every living entity to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence and words. Now Vishnu Puran, similar verse is quoted here. And that's where we stopped. So 3:12-45. प्राणिनामुपकाराय यदेवेह परत्र च कर्मणा मनसा वाचा तदेव मतिमान् भजेत्. By his work, thoughts and words, an intelligent man must perform actions which will be beneficial for all living entities in this life and the next. So basically we have to do welfare activities. So usually rich people can do welfare activities. They can be generous. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I am just a gardener. I am not a very rich man. Of course, he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shadaishwaryaihi Purna. That means he is full in all six opulences. But he is teaching us that we don't have to be extremely rich to be performing this welfare activity. We can do, even though we may have a very simple life. So, Mali Manushya Amar Nahi Rajyadhan. Rajyadhan means I don't have royal opulence. Fala Fula Diya Kore Punya Uparjan. So he is saying, I am merely gardener, I have neither kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. So purport. In performing welfare activities for human society, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presents himself as being not very rich, thus indicating that a man need not be rich or opulent to act for the welfare of humanity. This is not just for rich people. Sometimes rich men are very proud that they can perform beneficial activities for human society, whereas others cannot. A practical example is that when there is a scarcity of food in India on account of meager rainfall, some members of the richer class very proudly distribute foodstuffs, making huge arrangements with the help of the government, as if merely by such activities people will be benefited. Suppose there were no food grain, how would the rich men distribute food? Production of grain is completely in the hands of God. If there were no rain, there would be no grain, and these so-called rich men would be unable to distribute grain to the people. The real purpose of life, therefore, is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Rupa Goswami describes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that devotional service is so exalted that it is beneficial and auspicious for every man. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also declared that to propagate the bhakti cult of devotional service in human society, one does not need to be very rich. Anyone who knows the art can do it and thus render the highest benefit to humanity. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes the part of a gardener because although a gardener is naturally not a very rich man, he has some fruits and flowers. Any man can collect some fruits and flowers and satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service, as the Lord recommends in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. One cannot satisfy the Supreme Lord by his riches, wealth or opulent position, but anyone can collect a little fruit or a flower and offer it to the Lord. The Lord says that if one brings such an offering in devotion, he will accept it and eat it. When Krishna eats, the entire world becomes satisfied. There is a story in the Mahabharata illustrating how by Krishna's eating, the 60,000 disciples of Durvasa Muni were all satisfied. Therefore, it is a fact that if by our life, pranay, by our wealth, arthay, by our intelligence, dhiya, or by our words, vacha, we can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, naturally the entire world will become happy. Therefore, our main duty is to satisfy the Supreme Godhead by our actions, our money, and our words. This is very simple. Even if one does not have money, he can preach the Hare Krishna mantra to everyone. One can go everywhere to every home and request everyone to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Thus, the entire world situation will become very happy and peaceful. So, I'm just checking on the computer. Yeah, it is becoming again a little bit difficult. Okay, so regarding this, I actually would like to touch upon this incident of Srila Prabhupada's life. He actually mentioned that when he was a Grihastha, his plan was that he would do this big business, pharmaceutical business, and with that money, when he becomes rich, with that money he would print books and open temples, construct temples that way. That was his plan. But when his business was taken away from him by his manager, who cheated him and took everything away from him, then Prabhupada thought, oh, Krishna has a different plan. And Srila Prabhupada went to America with hardly anything in his pocket. No money, just 40 rupees, which will be finished in a few hours in America. And a trunk full of Bhagavatam books. And that's all he's got. That's all he had, and then he went. So, fal full diya kore uparjan. So, just by a small, he was not rich materially. But you see, because he served the order of the spiritual master, Krishna benedicted him with all the opulences. And in the future, he got everything, all the money. So, the only thing that is required is sincerity. On the other hand, if one has a lot of riches, but if one is not a devotee and if he does not know how to do things and he does things whimsically, even though he wants to preach, but if he does whimsically without taking the order of the spiritual master as the life and soul, then it will all fall apart. Opulent presentations. No, 1 second. Let me. Hmm. 11:27:18. You see, this is very important verse. भूर्यप्यभक्तोपाहृतं न मे तोषाय कल्पते गन्धो धूपः सुमनसो दीपोन्नाद्यं च किं पुनः. Bhuri means opulent, great. Abhakta upahritam. If it is offered by a non-devotee, name toshaya kalpate, they don't satisfy me. But gandha dhupaha sumanasaha deepaha annadyam, and kim, what to speak of. So, even very opulent presentations do not satisfy me if they are offered by non-devotees. But I am pleased by any insignificant offering made by my loving devotees, and I am certainly most pleased when nice presentations of fragrant oil, incense, flowers, and palatable foodstuffs are offered with love. So, let's go to the previous verse. What was said in the previous verse? Two verses here. Snānālaṅkaranam preshtham archāyāmeva tūddhava sthandile tattvavinyaso vahnāvājyaplutam havih surye chabhyarhanam preshtham salile saliladibhih shraddhayopahritam preshtham bhaktena mama varyapi. In worshipping the temple deity, my dear Uddhava, Bathing and decoration are the most pleasing offerings. For the deity traced on sacred ground, the process of Tattva is most dear. Oblations of sesame and barley soaked in ghee are the preferred offering to the sacrificial fire, whereas worship consisting of upasthana and arghya is preferred for the sun. One should worship me in the form of water by offering water itself. Actually, whatever is offered to me with faith by my devotee, even if only a little water, is most dear to me. So, of course, we have the Bhagavad Gita verse, which is 926. Wow, you see, the screen is again going, the computer is again slowing down. It has to happen only when I sit here. If I'm in the temple room, I think those lectures are fine. So I really don't understand sometimes what is the fault. Because in the temple room also, I just show the screen. Maybe I should just do from my laptop. Next time I should try that. Okay. Now I have a screen attached to the laptop and a little bit of a different setup than downstairs. So I need to try the other one. Let's see. Maybe next week or next Monday or maybe. Let's see. So, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmanah. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. So this is the Supreme Lord. So that will satisfy him. Okay. So of course this Durvasa Muni's incident is quoted here, the Rakshapatra. So when the Pandavas were in Vanavas, Duryodhan wanted to trouble them, and he served first of all Durvasa Muni very nicely in his palace. And Durvasa Muni is known for either getting very pleased easily or getting very upset very easily. So he Duryodhan offered him all opulent presentations and pleased him very much. And then once he was pleased, then he said, "What can I do for you?" Durvasa Muni said. So Duryodhan immediately asked, "No, you go and just as you have blessed us, I want you to bless my cousins also who are in the forest suffering very much. Please go there and bless them also, so that they also become happy." So although it looks nice, although it sounded nice, but actually his intention was that Durvasa Muni actually came to the Duryodhan's palace with 60,000 disciples. So he told Durvasa Muni like this, but when Durvasa Muni would go to the forest with his 60,000 disciples, the Yudhishthir Maharaj, he would not have sufficient means to serve him well. And when he cannot serve him well, then Durvasa Muni would become angry and then curse him. So they will get more trouble. So that was his intention. So, but the Pandavas had a pot called Rakshapatra. Akshaya means unending, Patra means pot. So the pot can produce unlimited quantities of dishes, any dish you want, it will bring it out. As long as Draupadi has not eaten for that day. Once Draupadi eats, then that pot will not give for that day. Only next day you can get it. So Duryodhan was aware, I guess, that they had Akshapatra. And then he asked him to go at a time when, Draupadi would have already eaten. So Durvasa Muni went there with the 60,000 disciples. Then he said, "Oh, Duryodhan asked me to come here, to bless you all, It's like, so I will just take a bath in the river along with my disciples and I will come back." So by the time Draupadi already ate, so Yudhishthir Maharaj, he said, "All right, please proceed to take a bath." And they all went to the river. Then Yudhishthir Maharaj was worried. How can we serve them now? So actually, he was very confident in the beginning. Draupadi, you have the Rakshapatra, na? Bring out all the dishes for all the 60,000. Draupadi said, "My dear husband, I have already eaten. Now this won't produce anymore for today." Really? Then Yudhishthir Maharaj became panicking. So he said, how shall we serve the sadhus now? So this panic is good panic. To serve the sadhus, you must have some worry. So that is a good worry to have. Then, as he was thinking like that, then their only refuge was Krishna. They were praying to Krishna, what can we do? So Krishna immediately appeared from Dwarka. Immediately. And then he asked them, give me your Rakshapatra. Then he looked in the Rakshapatra. There was one piece of shark, some green leaf. So he just took that and then put it in his mouth and ate it. He said, "I'm very satisfied." Actually, the Pandavas said, "We are so unfortunate that we cannot serve you, Krishna." He said, "No, don't worry. I just need a little bit." So he just took a little leaf, and that leaf was offered with devotion. You see, they are all devotees. Devotion, and then one leaf, part of a leaf that too, not even full leaf. He ate. Not only he was satisfied, all the Durvasa Muni and the 60,000 disciples became satisfied in the water. Then Durvasa Muni became very afraid. Oh, how come I suddenly feel so full? Everybody saying, all the disciples said they also felt full. How then if we go to Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is a Vaishnava. He is a very great devotee. And if we go to him and he arranged for us such a big feast and we are full, we can't even eat a single grain of rice. And then he will be very dissatisfied and then he will curse us. And because I already tried with Ambarish Maharaj and I still remember the lesson I have learnt, I will never mess around with Vaishnavas. So what can I do? Okay, I'll just silently go away from here. Durvasa Muni along with the 60,000 disciples left. But the point is that when Krishna is satisfied, all of them are also satisfied. So that is the point. Welfare means to benefit everyone, but everyone will be benefited if the Lord is pleased. So that's the whole, this Dava, Rampa, Gyaltso. Actually, he's a Prabhu from UK. So he is saying that there are so many soup kitchens and food charities now, but mainly it's meat and meat products. This kind of charity is indeed dark and damning, but those who contribute think they are doing good work. Yeah, this is so true. So today's people do not know even how to do a charity. So there is charity in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, and transcendental charity. If we go to I think 1720 maybe. दातव्यम् इति यद्दानं दीयते नुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Next. यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलम् उद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसं स्मृतम्. But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of passion. अदेशकाले यद्दानम् अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतम् अवज्ञातं Tattamasamudahritam. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. And of course, giving meat is what? I mean, it's complete sin. So they are doing charity in very, very mode of darkness, mode of ignorance. So that is not how one should do charity. One should know how to do charity. Not just having wealth is the prerequisite. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but wealth is not actually prerequisite for charity. The know-how of the secret of satisfying the Supreme, that is the secret of charity, because that will satisfy everyone. So it is explained, of course we all know this verse. Yatha tarormula nishechanena तृप्यन्ति तत्स्कन्धभुजोपशाखाः प्राणोपहाराच्चयतेन्द्रियाणां तथैव सर्वार्हणमच्युतेज्या. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of that Supreme Personality. A similar verse is there in the 8th canto as well. Yatha hi skandha shakhanam taror moolavasechanam evam aradhanam vishnoh sarvesham atmanaschahi. When one pours water on the root of a tree, the trunk and branches of the tree are automatically pleased. Similarly, when one becomes a devotee of Lord Vishnu, everyone is served, for the Lord is the super soul of everyone. So the secret for charity, to providing abundantly to everyone, is to satisfy the Lord. You see, modern charities have all kinds of outreach programs of, storing grains and food and everything. Food is one type of charity. There are many types of charities. Basic necessities: food, education, clothing, water. So these things, there are many charitable organizations and philanthropists who, of course, nowadays there is medical so-called charity, which is a masked charity. It's not a charity. It's corporates who want to, sell their medicines, so-called medicines. That's a whole scam on its own. That's another thing. In the name of charity, they fund universities which teach atheism. They fund research organizations who do scientific research, so-called research, and some tests on so-called medicinal, so-called, they call it medicine, but they put all kind of things, and it also is quite dangerous. So there are so many kinds of charities, but the basic is the food, clothing, and then they go to Africa and all these remote places to try to set up infrastructure and everything. Now, the distribution, to reach out to the remotest parts of the world, it's a challenge if we do on our own. But Krishna can distribute to every single nook and corner of the globe, of the universe. Let's take one example. Like if we want to supply water, then we have to have pipelines, we have to have irrigation systems, we have to have a whole repertoire of equipment and systems and so many logistics in place. Now, for the Lord, distribution of such water is very easy for Him. The water evaporates by the sun, and then clouds, wind moves the clouds, and then the clouds shower forth rain in even the remotest part. They have access to everything. So, but then you may say, hey, that's not reliable, so we have to have a more reliable source. So, the reason why it is not reliable is because there is no pious activity. If everybody is pious and devoted, Krishna will supply unlimited. Actually, Kunti Devi says that, right? What does she say? She says this, 1:840. Ime janapadaah sriddhaah supakvaushadhiviruddhah vanadrinadyudanvanto hi edhante tava vikshitaihi. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans are full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. If the Lord's mercy is there, all these natural resources will be in abundance. When this devotion is not there, people become atheists. Then what do? They build dams and stop the rivers. And that creates a whole lot of problems. The fertile grounds are, affected. Everything is affected. So, they think you have to hold the water, for, agricultural and electricity purposes or whatever. But they're trying to adjust things by their own human endeavor. They don't understand that actually we don't have to work with limited resources and trying to manipulate and adjust things. We don't need to. What we need to do is just become devotees and the Lord will supply in abundance. Actually, there is a verse, one second. This is in the first canto. What? Ground or soil. There's a verse. Milk. The whole pasturing grounds are, moistened with milk from the cows. Such abundance was there. What is that? Is this the one? Yeah. 110.4. I think this is the one. Yes. Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Yes. Prabhupada quoted this. Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Mahi means earth. Earth has Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Everything the earth can produce, satisfy all our desires. It has immense resources, the earth. Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Kamam Vavarsha Parjanyah Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Sishichuh Smavrajan Gavah Payasodhasvatir Muda. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the cloud showered all the water that people needed and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. This is an example of a flourishing civilization. And what was great about Maharaj Yudhishthir and his kingdom and his ruling? He was a devotee. And he was ruling so perfectly that the Lord is providing everything in abundance. We don't have to build. We think it is way more advancement to have canals and pipelines and bridges and tunnels. This we think is advancement. But what it signifies is that we are trying to take matter into our own hands for our maintenance, thinking that there is no superior controller. In the previous civilizations, at least 5,000 years ago, there was no need to construct such heavy infrastructure projects, not because there was no engineering, expertise back then. They were way better engineers, far more better than what is now possible. But they did not need to, because the logistics, the entire infrastructure, God's infrastructure is sufficient. Krishna's infrastructure is sufficient. There's no need of anything else. And now you see, with man-made infrastructure projects, we are so tied up. We are so tied up now. Everything, now you see there's a war in Eastern Europe. And because of that country controlling oil, everywhere the oil prices rose up and everything is expensive now. Because everything needs transport, every product, import, export, everything needs oil. And everything going up. Singapore, now this country relies heavily on import. They have almost zero. They have a few, but almost zero farmlands and cows. Very, very few. Negligible. And they don't even have their own water. This country imports water, drinking water from Malaysia. It is so dependent. Now we may think this is a very advanced country, but real advancement, real wealth means one must have natural resources. So this used to be this is the standard. The milk is in profusion, and all the cloud showered all the water that people needed. Earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. So this is the thing when devotee, sometimes they say, if everybody chants, how will the world run? The world will run well, very well, by the arrangement of Krishna. Now as if the world is running well. We do atheistic activities, make problems, and then try to build charities and infrastructure and all kinds of things to combat those problems, and to contribute to such charity is considered, a champion of environmental projects. Oh, we are green, support the green revolution and all that. Have less emissions or whatever. We don't need any emissions at all if we depend on the natural resources. We need to know how to use animals. We need to know how to use, like transport system was all by animals. All by animals. But now animals are killed and they're digging the earth for some metals and oil and everything, and then everything is misused, mismanaged. So with atheistic civilization, the resources of God will be mismanaged and used to commit more sinful activities, and such sinful activities will decrease the resources, and one will even try even harder to get other resources, and this way, that way, this way, and they have to work within very, very hard constraints eventually. You see? And then it becomes impossible. But if we all become devotees, the whole world become devotees, everything will be flourishing. So that is real charity, that is real welfare activity. Not just to provide, food and milk and all that. When material side is taken care of, people will have time for spiritual advancement. The problem today is people are working 12 hours, 16 hours just to maintain their body and soul together and their family. Both husband and wife are working long hours. Zero, they have no time for self-realization. By the time they are finished with their work, they are exhausted. If they have any energy, they will pass it in sex life or some entertainment or whatever. Entire energy of human energy is sapped out of, the life is being sapped out of the human being. There is no time and energy for spiritual realization. All his brain power is used to solve these materialistic problems, which he has created, by the way. and that is considered, oh, great technological advancement. But no, this is actually problem after problem after problem. So this is, so how to solve the world's problems in this way? Yes, Prabhu, I am busy. What is that? Sorry? So sorry. So all the logistics will be taken care of. Krishna has perfect logistics everywhere. He has arrangement, complete arrangement, that even the most remotest person in the world will get food. Trees can go even the most remotest part of the world. You may say, oh, what about deserts? Well, we don't have to live there. And you know why deserts even came about? It is said in the Bhagavatam, those who are very sinful, Indra actually distributed the sins. So those who kill Brahmanas and that kind of sins, heavy sins, they take birth in deserts. And so deserts even exist because of our sinful activities. The whole place can be made to flourish. It can be done. It's not impossible. But the thing you have to understand is that the Krishna is the controller. That's all. That's the greatest charity. Of course, Vrajageshwar Prabhu is sharing this 2.3.17 purport. So, how to give charity? So, where to give charity? If we want to do good to the world, we have to support the mission of Krishna. Who is carrying out the mission of Krishna? That's what should be supported, not some Red Cross, Green Cross, Blue Cross. The Red Cross goes to some disaster management, disaster relief. When disaster happens, you go and help them. That is considered a big charity. Yeah, it is an emergency. Yes, you have to administer some help. But why the disasters are even happening? Because of sinful activities. All the sinful people are put together and then one disaster happens there. And everybody suffers. So to manage the suffering after it has already happened, that may be a good thing to do, if only we did not understand. Okay, for example, I create a problem, and when people suffer, and then I'll start a charitable organization to help people who have suffered because of the problem that I've created. Is that a good thing? I am creating the problem, and I am starting a charitable organization to treat those people who are suffering from that problem that I have created. What kind of charity is this? This is rascaldom. So why is the disaster happening? Because we are killing. Human society is killing billions of livestock every day, animals and plants and birds and everything. Even plants, but especially animals. Unless used for prasadam, offering to Krishna and eating as prasadam, everything is sinful. But especially the animals are even more sinful, killing animals. They are killed indiscriminately. So that amount of sin we are committing, how we will not have any problem? Of course we will have problem. So we can't expect any good out of this civilization just by contributing to something here and there. We can't. The real solution is to become Krishna conscious. Actually, maybe we can actually read the purport here. See. The basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. The necessities of human society are food grains, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood, etc. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly, one does not require flesh and fish or iron tools and machinery. During the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthira, all over the world there were regulated rainfalls. Rainfalls are not in the control of the human being. The heavenly king Indradev is the controller of rains and he is the servant of the Lord. When the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains from the horizon, and these rains are the causes of all varieties of production on the land. Nowadays people think that these are all erratic transformations of weather and climate and all this. No, it's not erratic. There is a system behind this. These subtle things, subtle laws, how the universe is being administered and carried out, they don't even know. So if we know the mechanics of how everything is working, and that everything is actually working by the pleasure of the Lord, then we will know that actually the best infrastructure is already there by the Lord. It is only not supplying because the Lord has withdrawn the supply, or the material nature on the order of the Lord has withdrawn the supply, because we are not paying our taxes in yajna. If we don't pay our income tax, then we will have to suffer, right? So similarly, we have to do yajna process. We have to satisfy the Lord. We are taking everything from the Lord, the benefits. But then if we don't give it back to the Lord, then that's a thief, stena. So here, when the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains from the horizon, and these rains are the causes of the varieties of all varieties of production on the land. Not only do regulated rains help ample production of grains and fruits, but when they combine with astronomical influences, there is ample production of valuable stones and pearls. And this is how valuable stones actually are produced. When rain happens in auspicious time, and these things are produced, how are they being mined now? How are they produced? So grains and vegetables they will give some chemical answer to all this, how they were produced, and this chemical, the chemical. The Vedas have the information how they are produced. Grains, now can they produce gold? Can they produce emeralds, rubies, diamonds? They can't. They can just dig them but how did the diamonds get there? How did the rubies, emeralds get there? Because of these things. They do not know these things. Grains and vegetables, you see, not only just normal things like vegetables and fruits, even gems, these things can happen. Grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and animals, and a fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man sumptuously with vigor and vitality. If there is enough milk, enough grain, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk, and enough jewels, then why do people need economic development in the shape of tools and machines? Can tools and machines supply vigor and vitality to men and animals? In fact, exactly the opposite. Can machinery produce grain, fruit and milk, or jewels and silk? Are jewels and silk along with varieties of foodstuffs prepared with ghee? Are jewels and silk along with varieties of foodstuffs prepared with ghee, grain, milk and fruits not sufficient for man's pure, luxurious and healthy life? It's actually sufficient. Then what is the need of an artificial, luxurious life of cinemas, cars, radio, flesh and hotels? Has this civilization produced anything more than the doggish mentality of quarreling individually and nationally? Has this civilization enhanced the cause of equality and fraternity by sending thousands of men into a hellish factory and the war fields at the whims of a particular man? One man, now you see now in Europe, one man has decided to fight another country, and so many people have to suffer. And this is not just this is not just the war. War is one thing. What about the factories? People are working so hard there just because of one man's business. He is thinking, okay, I want to have a good business, and then he has this huge workforce under him, working 12 hours, 16 hours a day, in shifts, night and day, and in the process they are getting their biological clocks all messed up. Their health is deteriorating because of that. So it is actually sapping all our vitality. It's not giving us any vitality, whereas the natural process is full of vitality. And then one has the energy to contemplate spiritual subject matter. We don't need entertainment. There is enough enjoyment in spiritual life. You know why entertainment became so big thing? Because people want to be happy. And they forgot, they've denied God, so now they have to find something else. So they find a distraction, like a cinema or all these, distractions to become happy. They just need to be God conscious, Krishna conscious, and everything will be happy. I mean, the topics of Krishna, how nice it is to hear and discuss about them and preach this message everywhere. How full of life this is. It is said here that, continuing from the purport, it is said here that the cows used to moisten the pasturing land with milk because the milk bags were fatty and the animals were joyful. They were not like, cats, cows, and their calves taken away from them and then, they are milked forcibly by injections. No. They were so happy that the cow was actually dripping milk. This is actually possible. I have seen videos of cow dripping milk on the ground. When the owner, plays some nice music, the cows are actually dripping milk because they're very happy, and they produce an abundance of milk. The vegans say, "Oh, cow's milk is supposed to be for the cow. Human milk is supposed to be for the human." So humans, we drank the milk of our mother, and that's the all milk that is meant for us, because vegans say we are the only species who are drinking the milk of another species, a cow. But they can have their own logic. Krishna has shown by personal example that he ate butter, milk, yogurt, everything. And he taught us that thing. The cow, that's why cow is mother. We take the milk. And it's not that we are depriving the calf of the milk. No, the cow, if taken care of nicely, will be so happy that she will moisten the ground with milk. And I have seen video clips where there's a person plays nice music and the cow is so happy, dripping milk. The udder is so full. So it is said that here that the cows used to moisten the pasturing grounds with milk because the milk bags were fatty and the animals were joyful. Do they not require therefore proper protection for a joyful life by being fed with a sufficient quantity of grass in the field? Why should men kill cows for their selfish purposes? Why should man not be satisfied with grains, fruits and milk, which combined together can produce hundreds and thousands of palatable dishes? Why are there slaughterhouses all over the world to kill innocent animals? Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir, while touring his vast kingdom, saw a black man attempting to kill a cow. The king at once arrested the butcher and chastised him sufficiently. Now, an important point here is that there was an animal activist. He was mentioning this point in one of his YouTube videos, and I think in one of his public addresses, which was shot as a video, and I saw it on YouTube. So he was saying, I don't remember who it was. He made an important point. So now people are saying there is overpopulation. There's not enough land, and therefore we must colonize Mars. Elon Musk is another stupid endeavor. Absolutely stupid endeavor. They're thinking the Earth does not have enough resources, so we have to go to Mars now and spoil that planet as well. Sarva kama dughamahi, this verse says. The Earth has everything to supply us in abundance. This is again the need to colonize Mars is an atheistic idea. There's no need. The reason why we feel there is overpopulation or a scarcity of land, enough land on Earth, we feel that because this animal activist, he said, just see in nature, you will have the answer, he said. In a square kilometer of wilderness, in the African savanna, the African plains, where it is all green, not the desert part, but the greens. And there you will see, in the wilderness, there's a large pastures of land, of grass. And there are thousands of zebra, bisons, and all kinds of herbivorous animals which eat plants and grass. In 1 square kilometer or 1 hectare or whatever, let's say 1 square kilometer, how many zebras there are or any herbivorous animals there are, and how many lions or tigers there are, or leopards or cheetah. There can be 1,000 bisons or 1,000 wildebeests or such herbivorous animals, or wild buffalo, whatever. And how many lions can stay in such a land? Only maybe 5? Only one family, one pride of lions, that's all. There can't even be another pride. They will fight among themselves. They can't stay so close together. So, to support a meat-eating animal in 1 square kilometer, only 5 meat-eating animals can survive. Whereas herbivorous animals, 1,000 or even more, I don't know. It's much greater in number always, right? The lions are always way lesser in number than the other herbivorous animals. So the same land can produce way many more plant-eating creatures than animal flesh-eating creatures. So if people become vegetarians, this earth has enough supply of land. But because they are being meat eaters, the land is not enough. This is the simple, plain and simple answer actually. And this is all mismanagement. So when we do sinful activities, we do mismanagement like this, and everything just falls apart. Because we are not following the instructions of Krishna. So reading on, the king at once arrested the butcher and chastised him sufficiently. Should not a king or executive head protect the lives of the poor animals who are unable to defend themselves? Is this humanity? Are not the animals of a country citizens also? Then why are they allowed to be butchered in organized slaughterhouses? Are these the signs of equality, fraternity and non-violence? Therefore, in contrast with the modern, advanced, civilized form of government, an autocracy like Maharaj Yudhishthir's is by far superior to a so-called democracy in which animals are killed and a man less than an animal is allowed to cast votes for another less than animal man. Beautiful, beautiful. We should read that again. In contrast with the modern, advanced, civilized form of government, an autocracy like Maharaj Yudhishthir's is by far superior to a so-called democracy in which animals are killed and a man less than an animal is allowed to cast votes for another less than animal man. We are all creatures of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord Himself is the seed-giving Father and material nature is the mother of all living beings in all shapes. Thus, Mother Material Nature has enough foodstuff both for animals and for men by the grace of the Father Almighty Sri Krishna. The human being is the elder brother of all other living beings. He is endowed with intelligence more powerful than that of the animals for realizing the course of nature and the indications of the Almighty Father. Human civilizations should depend on the production of material nature without artificially attempting economic development to turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and love of power only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. This is but the life of dogs and hogs. What is his name? Manu Prabhu is saying correct. Yeah, it's correct. Brajeshwari Mataji is saying, haha, I have never voted. Nor have I. I have never voted too actually. Dimitri Prabhu is quoting 4:18:6. Yes, this is very nice. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non-devotees who are devoid of all spiritual understanding. Purport: although there are immense potencies within the earth for the production of grains, fruits and flowers, this production is checked by the earth itself when it is misused by non-devotees who have no spiritual goals. Very nicely said. This is the truth actually. Satyam Prabhu is asking, Prabhu, as we saw that rains and sunshine are given by the Lord when people do yajnas, so at the present moment As we can see that there are regular rainfalls, there is sunshine even now, when people are committing so much sinful activities. How do we understand this, Prabhu? It will be gradually withdrawn. For now, it is still going on. But the thing is, we are not taking advantage of that. Sunshine may be there and everything may be there, but we are depending on the artificial things. Even medicine, there is enough medicine in the plants. The herbs, you see here, the word is used herbs in the 4.18.6. Just now the Dimitri Prabhu shared. Herbs means this is all medicines. So enough medicines are there in our flora and fauna. But just that we do not know what is that. There may be sunshine, but we don't know how to utilize. People are getting sick, but actually if people go out in the sun, under the sun, they'll be very, very healthy. But they are sitting in air-conditioned rooms. So it may be there, but we are not taking use of it, and eventually whatever is there also will be gone. So now the supply is still there, although erratic, and we have lost the intelligence how to best use it, because non-devotees have taken over. So that intelligence is lost. Later on, the intelligence is already lost, but the supply also will be lost, will be cut. So Radhika Sakhi Mataji has come with another question. Quick question about charity. So we know that mundane charity is not helpful in the ultimate issue. It can only serve the body and not the soul. But we know that charity should still be conducted, just that it should be for spiritual cause. But then, right, if there is any needy region of this world and we want to help them spiritually, how to do that? Let's say people are starving. So ideally we should provide prasadam, but suppose there are no devotees there. Does that mean we cannot support? I guess it would be best to start a center there. But what about a powerless and unqualified individual like me who can't do anything like that at the moment? Is there nothing I can do? I feel like I want to do something, but still I know we can't contribute to mundane charities. So is praying the only thing we can do? Because in 5.26.18 purport also it says that one is implicated if those who are in need are not taken care of. So how to manage the situation? So the needy places. Now, for example, we want to help. Yeah, devotee wants to help, that is good. But then, where will the sinful people who are supposed to suffer be accommodated? We want to help. But those who are destined to suffer, they will suffer. Why they were born in that place? Krishna is taking care. If they had to face that, that means they had done something which was so heinous that they are now facing this. So, yes, to make them devotees is the answer. So, we cannot do everything at once, but what we can do is start first. So, we have to become devotees, we have to open center, and then we spread as much as possible. That's the only way to really help. Of course, we can go around doing prasadam distribution, that can be done, and chanting and traveling sankirtan parties. If we have sufficient manpower, the problem is nowadays nobody wants to join. We need people to join. Everybody wants to be comfortable in their materialistic position, especially boys. They have to join and join the movement, become brahmacharis. Then, even though we can't have centers everywhere immediately, we can start traveling sankirtan parties and distribute prasadam, distribute Harinam, books, everything, and conduct some special programs there, dramas, lectures, cultural shows, and distribute prasadam and Harinam Sankirtan and induce them to chant and then make it into their lifestyle. So these are things that needs to be done. We need manpower. So those who know the value of this movement but must dedicate their life for the welfare of others. So those who are needy, well, we can only pray, that eventually they will become devotees, and not just pray. We should work towards it. Now, we cannot reach every nook and corner, but whatever we can do, we should do. Start somewhere. And then eventually it will be done. And these so-called charities, they go and distribute meat there, and those people eat meat. How they're going to be, and then provide atheistic education. So, just now that this Dimitri Prabhu shared 4.18.6, all the resources are being used by non-devotees. Therefore, Earth is withdrawing the supply. So again, by thinking that we are the providers of doing something, we think we can manipulate the situation. No, we can't. The Lord has to arrange, and the Lord can arrange. He's not simply not arranging because He's angry at them. He's punishing them. So only the way they can become. Therefore, there has to be mass propaganda everywhere to reach. Like there are communication systems which can reach remotest parts, like radio, television, and internet. So we have to go on these platforms and for a start at least. So we have to broadcast this message and somehow make it reach everywhere. So the more we try hard, the more Krishna will give intelligence how to do it. And eventually, internet is just a beginning. It's not. It does not solve everything. Eventually, we have to have brick and mortar temples, actual physical temples, and prasadam distribution centers everywhere. Everywhere. That should be our thing. That's the only way. Mundane charity is no point supporting them. They themselves don't know what to do. Shubham Bharat Shukla is asking, Prabhuji, I've asked some question on Instagram. Please reply. I need to see what question is this. I will look at it. If it's not related to this class, maybe no need to ask here. I will look at Instagram. I haven't looked at my Instagram thing for a long time. I need to start getting active on social media again. Really need to. Okay, so going back to that verse. Actually, we have only covered one verse today. Sarvakama Dugha. So anyway, coming back to today's verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying we don't need great opulence. Why don't we need great opulence to do welfare activity? Because if we satisfy the Lord has full opulence, not just great opulence, full opulence, and He makes the arrangement for everything to happen. Perfect arrangement, perfect logistics, transport system, everything. Whole infrastructure, there is no need of any construction projects at all. Just construction, everything is, the Lord has constructed everything. We just need to satisfy Him. Now what is happening is we are not relying on the Lord's construction, we are bypassing Lord's construction and doing some bypass surgery on the earth. And trying to give life supporting systems through bypass methods. We are bypassing the Lord's arrangement. That's why there is so much need of infrastructure. Okay, now the rain is being transported to different parts, right? Now, if we have to bring forth tons of rain or millions of liters of rain, how much pipelines, how much tankers, how much manpower, how much time and electricity and effort is required to transport that water from the ocean, desalinate it, make it pure and transport it and bring forth and put irrigation systems, the whole infrastructure. How much is needed, whereas the Lord is doing that effortlessly. So why not we depend on that infrastructure which is already effortlessly carrying out everything to the remotest part of the world? But no, we deny Him, and then we want to do it on our own and take resources from Him and then construct something, dig from somewhere, pile up somewhere, construct something, and then claim all greatness. I have done this, we have done that, trying to bypass the Lord's arrangement. Shubham is saying, please reply. It is life and death question for me. Okay, I'll look at it. But in the meantime, you come and attend our class. And now you're attending the class. You please sit down in the class, because in life or death we have to hear Bhagavatam and this Krishna Katha. That's what Parikshit Maharaj. He was going to die in 7 days. What did he do? Oh, second opinion, third opinion, doctor this, doctor that. No. Go there. 7 days, hear Bhagavatam, die peacefully, bravely. So, just Krishna Katha, you stay in Krishna Katha, everything will be alright. Okay? Your answers will all be there, and just you don't need to even be worrying actually. I'll show you one verse. This is a total digress, but I will just come back here. You see this verse 11, 29, 21 Srimad Bhagavatam. Yo mayi pare dharmah kalpyate nishphalaya che tada yaso nirartha syat bhayaderiva sattama. O Uddhava, greatest of saints, in a dangerous situation, an ordinary person cries, becomes fearful and laments. Although such useless emotions do not change the situation. But activities offered to me without personal motivation, even if they are externally useless, amount to the actual process of religion. So, Parikshit Maharaj heard Bhagavatam. That did not stop him from dying. Although he could have, that's another issue. But it's not that he read or he heard the Bhagavatam to counteract the death. No. Never mind, death in any way will come today or tomorrow. But let me die with full knowledge, with full Krishna consciousness. That's the proper thing. So, Radha Krishna Pranamor Jugala Kishore Jivane Marane Gati Aranahumor. Whether in life or death, we have to think of Radha Krishna. That's it. We have to be concerned more about whether I am thinking of Krishna or not, rather than to worry about whether I am going to live or not, or whether dangerous life and death and all this. You are not going to die actually, honestly. You are not going to die. Nobody will die. But anyway, since you asked, I will take a look at the Instagram and I will see. But in the meantime, you just attend the class. Manu Prabhu is saying the rascals are also making artificial clouds and trying to control artificially the weather with the DARPA project or something like that. Yeah, so they will try all these things, you see. But actually they cannot beat the system that is already there, the infrastructure of the Lord. They cannot beat it. In fact, it will prove to be otherwise. It will prove to be counterproductive eventually, whatever they try. So, all these bypass methods will not work. Will eventually prove to be a failure. So, anyway, going back. Therefore, our main duty is to satisfy the Supreme Godhead by our actions, our money and our words. This is very simple. Even if one does not have money, he can preach the Hare Krishna mantra to everyone. One can go everywhere to every home and request everyone to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Thus, the entire world situation will become very happy and peaceful. Now, charity welfare is not just to provide everything in profusion materially. No. Provide everything in profusion so that material necessities don't even bother the human beings. So that they can have enough time and peace to invest their energies in Krishna consciousness. That is the entire purpose of this. That is real welfare. So they being engaged in Krishna consciousness, that is real welfare. But now they are just struggling to just maintain themselves, stay afloat in this material world. What to speak of doing anything productive? Next verse. Mali hoya vriksha hoy lae to ichhate sarva pranir upakara hoy vriksha hoyte. Although I am acting as a gardener, I also want to be the tree, for thus I can bestow benefit upon all. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most benevolent personality in human society because his only desire is to make people happy. His Sankirtan movement is especially meant for the purpose of making people happy. He wanted to become the tree himself because a tree is said to be the most benevolent living entity. In the following verse, which is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-33, Krishna himself highly praises the existence of a tree. Aho esham varam janma sarva pranyupajivanam sujanasyeva yesham vai vimukhayantinarthinah. Now, here starts another arc of this whole explanation. The tree. The tree is extremely. Let's look at the. So we have to be working always for the welfare of others, just like a tree. And you see, just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed. You see, visibly the tree provides shade, provides fruits, flowers, even leaves. Leaves are also herbs. There are so many uses of even leaves. And sometimes the wood itself, there is rubber, there is sap from the medicine, from the bark itself, and then the wood itself for furniture, even when the tree dies. These are visible, but apart from this, the tree also saves the soil from eroding, and also it brings forth oxygen and takes in carbon dioxide, so it makes the air much more fresher. What we exhale, the carbon dioxide, so it takes that and gives us oxygen in return. So it makes the air purified. It purifies the air. So many things, it does imperceptibly. So many ways it helps. So, and it cools down the planet. See the trees. So they're always existing for the welfare of others. And of course, animal eats plants. You see, and that's how the whole food chain is there. So everybody is sustaining because of the trees, plants, the whole food chain. So this is actually Krishna said this 10:22-33. So let's go there, because the verses before that also are very instructive. 10:22-33. Okay, let's go to 10:22-30. Okay. निदघार्कातपे तिग्मे छायाभिः स्वाभिरात्मनः आतपत्रायितान्वीक्ष्य द्रुमानाः व्रजौकसः. Atapatra means umbrella. Chaya means shade. So the tree is like a big umbrella in the hot season. So Krishna and his cowherd boyfriends, they were in the pasturing grounds. When the sun's heat became intense, Lord Krishna saw that the trees were acting as umbrellas by shading him, and thus he spoke as follows to his boyfriends. Now you may think, hey, how can Krishna be feeling hot of the sun? He is saying in one verse that due to fear of him, the sun is producing so much heat and light, and here he is feeling it hot. What is this? No, he is not feeling it hot, but he is allowing the trees to give him some service by providing him shade. When we have festivals, we have umbrella. One devotee holds the umbrella right on top of the Lord. So he wants the trees to serve him. So he does not need. He is giving the trees the opportunity to serve him by going under him, under the pretext of going for a shade from the hot sun. So when the Lord acts, or the devotee acts seemingly powerlessly or in need of something, actually it is not in need. It is an opportunity for the others to serve them. In that instance, now that His Grace Sundar Prabhu went through the heart surgery, we are getting a lot more opportunity to serve him humbly. That's I'm learning a lot actually through this incident. and I have shared with other devotees, some of the devotees as well, that I will take you. I'm going to take you to this verse. It's a little bit of a digression again, but okay, wait. Okay, here you see. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, Sri Ishwar Puri was a resident of Kumarhat, where there is now a railroad station named Kamarhat, and all these things. Okay, Ishwar Puri appeared in a Brahmana family and was the most beloved disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puri. In the last portion of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, until 8.28 through 31, it is stated, Ishwar Puri Gosai Kore Sripada Sevan Swahaste Kore na Malamutradi Marjan Nirantar Krishna Nama Koroe Smaran Krishna Nama Krishna Lila Shunaya Nukshan Tushtamaya Puri Tare Koilo Alingan Varadila Krishna Tomara Hauka Premadhan She Hoite Ishwar Puri Premera Sagar. Oh, okay. It actually goes on in verse, but the second part of the verse is not quoted. So, okay, we'll read this translation. You see, at the last stage of his life, Sri Madhavendra Puri became an invalid and was completely unable to move. And Ishwar Puri so completely engaged himself in his service that he personally cleaned up his stool and urine. Always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and reminding Sri Madhavendra Puri about the pastimes of Lord Krishna in the last stage of his life, Ishwar Puri gave the best service among his disciples. Thus Madhavendra Puri, being very pleased with him, blessed him, saying, My dear boy, I can only pray to Krishna that he will be pleased with you. Thus Ishwar Puri, by the grace of his spiritual master Sri Madhavendra Puri, became a great devotee in the ocean of love of Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states in his Guru Ashtaka prayer, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is blessed by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. It is by the mercy of the spiritual master that one becomes perfect, as vividly exemplified here. Now, a Vaishnava is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if he appears to be an invalid, this gives a chance to his disciples to serve him. So it is not that Vaishnava is in need actually, although it appears externally like that. But actually he is always protected by Krishna. Like for example, Prabhupada got 2 heart attacks on the ship, and where there was doctor, where there was anybody? No, Krishna protected him. So Krishna can take care of a Vaishnava even without the help of any other Vaishnava. But if he seemingly is in a very painful condition like that or invalid, it is actually a chance for his disciples to serve him. So this applies to Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru also, or any devotee. So Krishna is never in need. Devotee is also never in need. Like Krishna, the Archa Vigraha, he is just standing. Oh, I don't know how to dress myself. Please dress me. But actually he is providing all the dress for everybody in the world. But he is standing as if he does not know how to dress, so that we can serve him. So when Krishna or his devotee acts helpless, that is actually for giving service to others. That's an opportunity of service. We have to grab that opportunity. Some people will find fault. Oh, you see, Krishna provided, he went to the shade, that means he is feeling hot. That means he is an ordinary mortal, you see. Or you see the Vaishnava, you say, oh, Vaishnava is this, Vaishnava is that, he also is having all these problems, you see. So we lose faith. So we can go that route. So for those who are insincere, they will be shown that understanding, and Krishna will give them intelligence to completely offend Vaishnavas and bring about their ruination. But for those who are intelligent, who are sincere, Krishna reveals the real meaning of all these things. So anyway, going back here. Okay. So sun's heat was there. So in other words, when the sun's heat is there, tree can help us. See? So if there are many trees, there will be no heat from the sun. Nowadays the temperatures are rising everywhere, all over the world. This summer was very hot everywhere. Why? Because everything is going against the against the instruction of Krishna. Okay, so next. He stoka Krishna he amsho Shridaman Subala Arjuna Vishala Vrishabhau Jaswin Deva Prasthavarutapa Pashyaitan Mahabhagan. He is glorifying the tree now. Pashyaitan Mahabhagan Pararthaikanta Jivitan Vata Varshata Pahiman Sahanto Varayantinaha. This is how we have to be tolerant. And you see Mahabhaga, you see how beautiful. See, in the first verse, in the two verses, first verse is all about calling his friends by their names. Lord Krishna said, Hey, O Stoka Krishna, Amshu, Sridama, Subala, Arjuna, Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojasvi, Devaprastha and Varuthapa. Just see these greatly fortunate trees, Mahabhagan, very fortunate. Why? Whose lives are completely dedicated to the benefit of others. Pararthaikanta, what is that? Parartha, Ekanta, Jivitan. Yes. Pararthaikanta Jivitan. Their life is only meant for Parartha. Pararthanishtha. I think there is a verse. Pararthanishtha. I think the Madhya 3.6, right? 11:23:57, I think. Paratmanishtham. Oh, Paratmanishtham. This is different. Parartha. There's another verse, no? Napararthanishthah, yes. Prayena deva munaya svavimuktikama maunam charanti vijane napararthanishthah naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyam vadasya sharanam brahmatonupashye. Pararthanishthah, those munis and sages who are living in the caves and mountains, not seeing anyone. They are not pararthanishtha, they are not fixed in the helping others. Whereas the trees you see here. So he's actually, when Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I want to preach, I want to help others by preaching Krishna consciousness. But they are not pararthanishtha. I am pararthanishtha, in other words, Prahlad Maharaj is saying. So going back, see whose lives are completely dedicated, Mahabhagan and Pararthaikanta Jivitan. Ekanta means solely for the purpose of benefiting others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat and snow, they protect us from these elements. Actually today morning was the verse, Subala Prabhu was saying, actually I wanted to, when I read this verse, I was thinking about that verse, today's morning verse, 4:31:19. Dayaya sarvabhuteshu santushtya yena kena va sarvendriyopashantya cha tushyatyashu janardana. So, in order to benefit others, one has to be very tolerant. Titikshavaha karunikaha. Because you are trying to help somebody who doesn't want the help. So when you help them, they actually get angry. Why are you disturbing me? Non-devotees are like that. So you have to tolerate a lot. The governments will not be favorable. The businessmen, the people in general will not be favorable. Nothing will be favorable. We have to tolerate many onslaughts, many challenges. So titikshavaha karunika, but at the same time be merciful to others. So santushtya yena kenava. If we are happy anywhere and everywhere, we can easily tolerate all kinds of inconveniences. Then we can show daya or mercy to others by preaching. So here, trees are the perfect example. They are titikshava and karunika at the same time. You see, pararthaikanta nishtha, pararthaikanta jivitan, and vata varshat sahanto varayantinaha. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat and snow, they protect us from these elements. The wind, rain and everything, they will hit us and then we will, get... So the trees take everything and then they protect us from that. See? And then Krishna further, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tarorapi sahishnuna trinadapi sunichena amanana manadena kirtaniya sadahari. And janma sarthak kare karo paropakar. So we have to be tolerant like the tree and humbler than the grass, then we can actually help others. First of all, we can help ourselves by chanting Sadahari, Kirtaniya Sadahari, then we can help others. So, to do paropakar, we have to be tolerant and merciful. And for that, we have to be like the tree. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the example of a tree, and now Krishna is glorifying tree here. You see how nicely he is glorifying the tree. How many things to learn from the tree, you see. Then this today's quoted verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Aho esham varam janma sarva pranyupajivanam sujanasyeva yesham vai mamukhayantinarthinaha. Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed. Similarly, a sadhu, wherever he goes, whoever asks anything from, somehow or other contacts the sadhu, never goes away disappointed. He gains in some way. Patra pushpa phala chhaya mola valkala darubhi gandha niryasa bhasmasthi tokmai kaman vitanvate. Now he is telling how the trees actually serve everyone. These trees fulfill one's desires with their leaves, flowers and fruits, their shade, roots, bark and wood, and also with their fragrance, sap, ashes, pulp and shoots. With all parts of their body they help others. Their entire existence is only to help others. So sometimes, I think I've touched upon this topic before. Some people want to do organ donation. Should devotees do organ donation or should blood donation or all this? I mean, if you have, you can always give, blood. But the main thing is, you're donating the organ to benefit somebody, right? That's organ donation. A devotee should donate all his organs for others' benefit, like the tree. That means, while his organs are working, he has to use every single breath of his life for the benefit of others. Then that is another way of organ donation. The result of the working organs put together should be a nice work to benefit others, and that is preaching Krishna consciousness. So we have to place all our efforts in doing that. That is real organ donation. Donating all our organs, our very life, our very body, our very breath, everything. So that's real donation. So we don't have to do anything else other than preaching Krishna consciousness. See how Krishna very, very nicely explained. Then he says this. Then he says this. Etavajjanma saphalyam dehina amiha dehishu pranairarthe dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. This is a famous verse, many times we quote it. And that is actually following this example of the tree that Krishna very nicely explains. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence and words. Now those who are very selfish, very greedy, very lusty, they are put in the form of a tree so that they can give in charity and gain some punya so that they can elevate themselves. So they are forced to do good to others. Just like, in Singapore at least, and even in other countries, there is this system where our temple, we facilitate this working with the government. So with those delinquents who are juvenile delinquents, who are in their teens and they do something bad or something, some crime or something, but they are not major, they are not 18 years old yet, and they did something when they were minor. So for them there is a community service allotted. So they have to do community service, welfare activity, helping it with some welfare organization. So we have also signed up for that. So sometimes those delinquents come here and do some voluntary service here with the temple. So that is some good activity, welfare activity, so that they can do something good to atone for what bad they have done. So similarly, the trees, this is their welfare activity. They are actually delinquents in this material world, extreme delinquents, and therefore they are put in this condition. Of course, some trees are poisonous. They are very sinful actually. Sinful. When they get a little more piety, then they will get more. So even among trees, there are those that further ignorance, those that further passion, and those that further goodness. So that is also, gradation is there also. But generally trees especially, they provide all these things, trees and plants and all that. So you see, all these things are, in that way they become redeemed from their sinful activities. They are forced to give to others instead of being so lusty and take everything for themselves. In this way they pay back. The correction happens in this way. They are forced to correct themselves in this way. So this is the perfect of the Lord, you see. So Krishna gave this example of a tree very beautifully, and then he said everyone should take this example from the tree. And with the tree, its roots, bulbs, and the flowers, fruits, and everything. For the human beings, we don't have flowers and fruits coming out of our body. So what is a flower of a human being would be a work of art. That is like a flower. That can be compared to a flower. So any artistic work, any creative artistic work, a flower-like work, can be offered to the Krishna for the benefit of others. Paintings, Krishna paintings, or music, sing for Krishna, anything. There are so many artistic expressions that we can do. Even video editing is an art. And many of you devotees, I think, you are video editing, photoshopping, this is also an art. To present it nicely, some artistic work. So all this has to be used for Krishna's service. And then it will be automatically benefiting everyone. So whatever art we have, so that can be our flower. And the fruit, every activity has a fruit as a result. A result of any activity is a fruit of that activity. And when we want to enjoy that fruit, we are called fruitive workers. We want to enjoy our own fruit. But no, the tree does not enjoy its own fruit. It will give the fruit to others. And I'll tell you something very important. While you see the fruit is given for the benefit of others, and that person eats the fruit, and inside the fruit are the seeds, either one seed or many seeds, and that is a potential for another tree, so to benefit even more people. So Krishna consciousness is also like that. When you give the fruit of Krishna consciousness, we do something nice for Krishna and give it, like prasadam even, offer to Krishna and then give it to others. Then a seed, bhaktilata bij, will be planted there in that person, and that person, if he eventually becomes a devotee, and then he will benefit others, even if he immediately doesn't become a devotee. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo navadyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Trayate mahato bhayat. So by distributing the fruit of our work in Krishna consciousness to Krishna and for preaching movement. We are actually sowing seeds in all their hearts. So this is a very, very good example. The tree and the gardener, this whole example is beautiful. So how nicely Krishna consciousness has to be spread like that. So the Bhaktilata Beach, what is Bhaktilata Beach? Basically, when we got our first book, I got my first book, one brahmachari from ISKCON Secunderabad. He sold a book in my college, and I bought a book, Bhagavad Gita, from him. So he is doing his work. He has dedicated his life to Krishna, and he is doing his work as a salesman for Krishna. He is selling Bhagavad Gita, and he is offering his fruits to Krishna by distributing the message of Krishna, and Krishna says that is the greatest service to me. And I got the seed from that. And today, I am able to speak something about Krishna, and you all are listening. You all are getting the seed. Of course, I did not give any seed. It's Prabhupada's seed. So in this way, a fruit has seed, and then the seed has a potential. Every single seed has the potential of a tree, and that tree produces millions of fruits, and each has millions of seeds. So in this way, unlimitedly, this Krishna consciousness movement can expand if we just study the working mechanics of a tree. So this is how we have to conduct ourselves. This is how the movement has to conduct itself. Each tree is independent, Each tree is independent, but it's dependent because the seed came from somewhere. That's why, like that, each temple is like a tree, like that, a planting of a tree. There can be many branches in the tree, leaves, flowers, fruits, and then produces devotees, more and more devotees. That's how this whole thing has to be expanded. So very beautifully Krishna has explained, you see. And even next verse, you see 10:20-36. Iti pravala stabaka phala pushpa dalotkaraihe tarunam namra shakhanam madhyato yamunam gataha. Thus moving among the trees whose branches were bent low by their abundance of twigs, fruits, flowers and leaves, Lord Krishna came to the Yamuna river. So the trees themselves also were bowing down with the weight of the fruits and flowers on them, bowing down to Krishna. So with all our fruits and flowers and all our expressions of artistry on whatever talents we have to offer it to Krishna, and with bending low, just like these trees in Vrindavan. We have to bend low, and in all humility we have to offer to Krishna. Not that I have done something great for Krishna today. Krishna has benefited from my presentations. Rascal. Who gave you the intelligence to do those presentations? Krishna. So I cannot think like that. So I should think that I should be very humble. Always be conscious that Krishna is the ultimate owner of everything, and by His grace only we can do anything. I think next verse goes somewhere else. Tatra gaha paya yitvapaha sumrishtaha shitalaha shivaha tato nirupasvayam gopaha kamam swadupapurjalam. The cowherd boys let the cows drink the clear, cool and wholesome water of the Yamuna. So if there is nice river flowing and cows and everything, they can drink the water, and then they can graze the grass and everything. O King Parikshit, the cowherd boys themselves also drank that sweet water to their full satisfaction. So nature has enough supply to supply for the animals and man and everybody. So in this way they conducted themselves. And Krishna, by his personal example, he showed how life can be so simple by being Krishna conscious. But soon they became afflicted by hunger again. Krishna and Balaram became afflicted by hunger. How can they be afflicted by hunger? That means they are giving some opportunity to somebody to serve. And actually it is the wives of the Brahmanas, Yajnik Brahmanas. That's the whole pastime here. They are going there. So they made the wives of the Yajnik Brahmanas fortunate by seemingly manifesting hunger. So in this way. So anyway, coming back all the way. Oh yeah. You see? is so slow, it is taking a lot of. Okay, stay here. Okay, so Krishna himself highly praises the existence of a tree. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to become the tree. So we have to also similarly want to become the tree. So we have just read this. Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful, their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree, never goes away disappointed. According to Vedic civilization, Kshatriyas are considered to be great personalities because if anyone goes to a Kshatriya king to ask for charity, the king will never refuse. The trees are compared to those noble Kshatriyas because everyone derives all kinds of benefits from them. Some people take fruit, others take flowers, others take leaves, others take twigs, and others even cut the tree, and yet the tree gives to everyone without hesitation. Unnecessarily cutting trees without consideration is another example of human debauchery. The paper industry cuts many hundreds and thousands of trees for its mills, and with the paper, so much rubbish literature is published for the whimsical satisfaction of human society. Unfortunately, although these industrialists are now happy in this life by dint of their industrial development, they do not know that they will incur the responsibility for killing these living entities who are in the form of trees. This verse quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-33 was spoken by Lord Krishna to his friends when he was taking rest underneath a tree after his pastime of stealing the clothes of the gopis, Vastraharan Leela. By quoting this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us that we should be tolerant like trees and also beneficial like trees, which give everything to the needy persons who come underneath them. A needy person may derive many advantages from trees and also from many animals. But in modern civilization, people have become so ungrateful that they exploit the trees and animals and kill them. These are some of the sinful activities of modern civilization. এই আজ্ঞা কইল যদি চৈতন্য মালাকার পরম আনন্দ পাইল বৃক্ষ পরিবার. Okay, so here the descendants of the tree, that means the disciplic succession under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The descendants of the tree, the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were very glad to receive this order directly from the Lord. It is the desire, purport, it is the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that the benevolent activities of the Sankirtan movement, which was inaugurated 500 years ago in Navadvip, be spread all over the world for the benefit of all human beings. Unfortunately, there are many so-called followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who are satisfied simply to construct a temple, make a show of the deities, collect some funds and utilize them for eating and sleeping. There is no question of their preaching the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. But even though they are unable to do so, if anyone else does it, they become envious. Actually, he is especially referring to his god brothers who are in the Gaudiya Math, those who are doing that. This is the condition of the modern followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The age of Kali is so strong that it affects even the so-called followers of Lord Chaitanya. Wow. The age of Kali is so strong that it affects even the so-called followers of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, it is the so-called followers of Lord Chaitanya who get affected, not the followers of Lord Chaitanya. At least the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must come out of India to preach his cult all over the world, for this is the mission of Lord Chaitanya. The followers of Lord Chaitanya must execute his will with heart and soul, being more tolerant than the trees and humbler than the straw in the street. We actually cannot preach if we are not humble and tolerant. We cannot. If Prabhupada was not tolerant, he wouldn't have been able to sleep in the Bowery. I mean, he was sleeping with the drug addicts who were not even bathing and stinking and all sex mongers and that kind of people, drug addicts, mad people. He was staying with mad people, and he was not from the kind of background. He is from a very aristocratic background. His family is very high class family, but he could stay in such a place with them in America. How? Tolerant. And that's how he brought this whole movement, you see. One has to be tolerant and merciful. The doctor has to treat the madman of his disease. But as he is treating, the madman will shout at him, "Rascal, why are you disturbing me?" But the doctor has to be patient and try to help him. Try to help the person who is offending him. So for that he has to be very tolerant and merciful at the same time. So our dealings with the non-devotees have to be like that. We have to be tolerant, persistent and merciful. We have to be tolerant and persistently merciful. Not that we showed some mercy and they hit back at us, that's it, let them go to hell. No. Persistently be merciful. So the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving this order to everybody, all his followers. जय जहाँ तहाँ दान करे प्रेम फल फलास्वादे मत्त लोक होइले सकल होइलो सकल. Okay, the fruit of love of God is so delicious that wherever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated. That's the fruit. Purport. Here the wonderful fruit of love of Godhead distributed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described. We have practical experience that anyone who accepts this fruit and sincerely tastes it immediately becomes mad after it and gives up all his bad habits, being intoxicated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The statements of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita are so practical that anyone can test them. As far as we are concerned, we are most confident of the success of the distribution of the great fruit of love of Godhead through the medium of the chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. महामादक प्रेम फल पेट भरी खाए मातिल सकल लोक हासे नाचे गाए. The fruit of love of Godhead distributed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a great intoxicant that anyone who eats it, filling his belly, immediately becomes maddened by it. And automatically he chants, dances, laughs and enjoys. So we want to distribute this intoxicating fruit of love of Godhead. केहा गड़ा गड़ी जाए केहा तो हुंकार देखी आनंदिता होया हासे मालाकार. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. Purport. This attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very important for persons engaged in the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. What is that? Again, this attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very important for persons engaged in the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. Let's see this again. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing and laughing and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. So, Parasukha Sukhi, Paradukha Dukhi, that is Vaishnava. So he becomes very happy. Yes, what is that? Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadvanna Triptan Haribhakta Sanghan Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Swadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So the Guru becomes very happy when his disciples are happily honoring Prasadam. Why he becomes happy? Not that because their bellies are getting full and their hunger is satisfied. No. He becomes satisfied because the disciples have accepted the principles of Krishna consciousness seriously. And instead of enjoying everything, they are making Krishna enjoy and they are only taking the remnants. This is the lifestyle. So they have adopted the mentality of devotees. That's why he is happy. Not just, they are eating, they are getting fat. So the spiritual master is very happy. No. Is this the verse? Let me see. No. Oh, yes. Yes. You see, Uddhava is saying this. Tvayopabhukta sraggandha vaso lankara charchitaha uchishta bhojino dasas tava mayam jayemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed. And by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. So, by accepting the remnants of Krishna, one will conquer the illusory energy. So, the spiritual master is very happy that his disciples are marching on the way back to Godhead by becoming a servant of Krishna, by becoming secondary enjoyers of everything. Let Krishna enjoy first, I will enjoy as a servant, his remnants. Here Uddhava is not saying that we won't accept any garlands, all garlands are for you. No. Every garland is for you. But then after you use, then we become devotees, we become fortunate like that. That's prasadam. Garlands, fragrant oils. Now you see, every morning we do the fragrant oil. Not that, we enjoy the oil first. We offer to Krishna first and then we enjoy. Clothes, of course. Actually, every cloth, new cloth, have to be offered to Krishna and then used. Ornaments that you have already enjoyed. In fact, in some ISKCON temples, this is a practice. Devotees, they offer so many presentations of ornaments for the deities, right? So, the ornaments become too many. So, what they do sometimes, temple, they place auction of ornaments, of old ornaments of the deities. And the devotees, they bid some price and they buy them. And they use them as necklace. Ladies want to put necklaces, bangles or whatever. They will use them. Or for the children, they make presentations. So, prasadam. So, they make auction of old this thing, or they just sell it. Sell it like prasadam jewelry of the Lord. Many ISKCON temples, they do this. So, then in that way, temple also gets some funds. And the prasadam, this ornaments, instead of buying ornaments for myself, I can wear the earrings of the Lord, I can wear the necklace of the Lord, I can wear the bangles of the Lord, different things. Of course, I don't know if I want to wear the crown of the Lord and go around doing what. But women, they decorate themselves, so they can decorate with the prasadam jewelry. So eating the remnants of your meals, okay, that we all do. And Sharira Vidyajal Jodendre Tayakal Jivefele Visha Sagare Tarmadha Jivati Lobhamay Sudurmati Takijita Katina Samsare Krishna Badadamay Koribara Jihva Joy Saprasad Annadilo Bhai Shayan Namrata Radha Krishna Gunagao Premida Kochetanita. And by having that prasadam, the devotees will get strength to do more service and they dedicate their lives. In this way, they are dedicating their lives to Krishna. And that's why the spiritual master becomes happy. Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavat Prasado Swadvanna Triptan Haribhakta Sanghan Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Sri Charanarvind. Not just that my disciples are eating Krishna Prasadam, they are becoming fat, so I am happy. No. This is the whole meaning. So a devotee is always happy when he sees others happy. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying here. See, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing and laughing and ecstatic, he smiles with great pleasure. So this is the attitude that preachers should have of this Krishna consciousness movement. So in every center of our institution ISKCON, we have arranged for a love feast every Sunday. And when we actually see people come to our center, chant, dance, take prasadam, become jubilant and purchase books, we know that certainly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in such transcendental activities and he is very pleased and satisfied. So if we want to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to cook nice food and offer to Krishna and distribute that prasadam to everybody. Let them have a nice feast, prasadam feast, and let them enjoy the prasadam, let them appreciate the prasadam, and for that reason they will come back and again. And then injection of philosophy, injection of Harinam, and injection of the philosophy through books also, not only the lectures. Books actually main. And this way the people become happy. We all also became devotees like that through these programs, transcendental programs, because of the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, the members of ISKCON must increase this movement more and more according to the principles that we are presently trying to execute. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thus being pleased, will smilingly glance upon them, bestowing his favor, and the movement will be successful. So we have to be always thinking and preaching, thinking about the welfare of others and preaching. Then everything, all welfare will be done automatically. ए मालाकार खाए ए मालाकार खाए ए प्रेम फल निरवधि मत्त रहे विवश विह्वल. The great gardener, Lord Chaitanya, personally eats this fruit, and as a result, he constantly remains mad, as if helpless and bewildered. Purport. It is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to act himself and teach the people. He says, Apani Achari Bhakti Korilo Prachar. CC Adi 441. One must first act himself and then teach. This is the function of a real teacher. Unless one is able to understand the philosophy that he speaks, it will not be effective. See, unless one is able to understand the philosophy that he speaks. If I speak something which I don't even understand, then it will not be effective. Therefore, one should not only understand the philosophy of Chaitanya cult, but also implement it practically in one's life. While chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes fainted and remained unconscious for many hours. He prays in his Sikshashtaka, Yugaitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravrishaitam Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahiname. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. This is the perfectional stage of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and eating the fruit of love of Godhead, as exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should not artificially imitate this stage, but if one is serious and sincerely follows the regulative principles and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, the time will come when these symptoms will appear. Tears will fill his eyes, he will be unable to chant the Mahamantra distinctly, and his heart will throb in ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one should not imitate this, but a devotee should long for the day to come when such symptoms of trance will automatically appear in his body. Sarvaloke matta koila apana saman preme matta loka vina nahi dekhiyan. With his Sankirtan movement, the Lord made everyone mad like himself. We do not find anyone who was not intoxicated by his Sankirtan movement. Je purve ninda koilo bali mato yal seho fal khai nache bale bhal bhal. Persons who had formerly criticized Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, calling him a drunkard, also ate the fruit and began to dance, saying, very good, bhalo bhalo. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement, even he was unnecessarily criticized by Mayavadis, atheists and fools. Naturally, we are also criticized by such men. So just because we are being criticized by some people does not mean we are wrong. Such fools will always exist to criticize. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also was criticized. Krishna was also criticized. Ram also was criticized. He is Maryada Purushottam Ram, still he was criticized. So that will never go away from this world. So we don't need to worry about the criticism. We just have to go on with our activity. They will always, you can say that Krishna danced with many girls, they did not understand her and they are criticizing. But Ram, he did everything right, still he is criticized. Oh, he left his wife like that. He fought with his own children. He took a woman who was away with another man for 10 months. So many criticism Lord Ramachandra gets. So such rascals will always exist. So we don't need to worry about them. They will always remain and will always criticize anything that is actually good for human society. But the preachers of the Sankirtan movement should not be deterred by such criticism. Our method should be to convert such fools gradually by asking them to come and take prasadam and chant and dance with us. This should be our policy. Anyone who comes to join us, of course, must be sincere and serious regarding spiritual advancement in life. And such a person, simply by joining us, chanting with us, dancing with us and taking prasadam with us, will gradually also come to say that this movement is very good. But one who joins with an ulterior purpose to get material benefit or personal gratification will never be able to grasp the philosophy of this movement. Eita kahilu prema phal vitaran ebeshuna phal dāsa je shakhagan. After describing the Lord's distribution of the fruit of love of Godhead, I now wish to describe the different branches of the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now the thing branches off into different... I think this is the end of the chapter. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, this is the end of the chapter actually. So different branches of the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, 9th chapter, describing the desire tree of devotional service. So that's how we wrap up this chapter now. We have wrapped up the 9th chapter of the Adilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it was a very, very nice explanation of the tree, the desire tree of devotional service, the gardener being Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So any questions and comments? Preeti Gauranga Prabhu is saying, space travel can make you anemic, making Elon Musk's plan to colonize Mars more difficult than hoped. Yeah, I mean it's hopeless. I mean he will be a failure, that's for sure. But he thinks he can do it. Demonic people, will have their own plans, will never be successful. Okay, so Radhika Sakhimat is saying, that's true, Prabhu. Yes, only Krishna can provide ultimately. Thank you so much for clarifying. I was thinking about charity earlier today and we are having this class now. Yeah, charity. If you want to do charity, donate to the temple. That's charity. Charitable organization. We will donate not only our money but also our life, our words, our intelligence and everything. Like this verse. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana vanusrita svabhavat karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayetat. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life, whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, intelligence or purified consciousness, one should offer to the Supreme thinking, this is for the pleasure of Lord Narayan. So all of the products of our sensory, mental and intellectual efforts, the fruits and flowers of such efforts, should be offered to Krishna. Of course, this idam hi pumsas tapasashrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi tattayoh avichyutorthah kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord who is defined in choice poetry. So ultimately, everything has to be offered to the Lord. Oh, Dimitri is asking, Prabhu, a short question. There are 2 books with most quoted verses by Prabhupada, the old and new one. Which one should I purchase? You can purchase any one. I would purchase both and just have them both. I don't think the old one is available anymore. It's just with a new cover. But if there is the old one, you can have it. There's nothing wrong. Alright, so Shubham is asking reply on Instagram. Okay, maybe tomorrow, because today is I still haven't finished my quota of chanting, so I still have to finish that. Alright, so thank you all very much. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.